Welcome to the Team SNG Patreon profile. Now, this is an example Patreon profile. We're bringing back popular demand, Chris Chulo. He brought the Cyber Dragon profile that you've seen featured on the channel. Link to that is in the description down below if you haven't checked it out already. Today, we've got him here giving you all an example of what you can expect if you were to join our Patreon. Links down below as well. While I've got your attention, I want to ask you guys, do leave us a like, leave us a comment, and leave us a subscribe. Now, that all being said, we're going to pass over to Chris Chulo. He's going to tell us a bit about the deck that he's going to talk about today, and then he's going to give us a breakdown card by card of the deck. So, Chris Chulo, over to you.
Hello. Yes, hello. Well, the deck I was going to do this time with the recent release of new support for the deck was Phantom Knights. And the overview of the deck really was just to deviate away more from the BA side of it, just to more pure Phantom Knight. Although there is one in BA in the extra deck. So if we start off with the monsters, we have three of the brand new Phantom Knight of Torn Scale. This card is fantastic after it's summoned, I should say. You can discard a card from your hand and send a Phantom Knight card from your deck to the graveyard, which is mad considering Phantom Knights entirely activate virtually from the graveyard. All their traps go off from the graveyard. And some of the other support, especially if you're running things like BA, it can set you up for quite a few plays as well. The other thing is if you banish a Phantom Knight card from your graveyard while Torn Scales is in the graveyard, it summons itself back. So it's nice walking floater. It's got 600 attack, it's got 16 defense, it's a level 3. Pretty good. Next up is three of the Ancient Cloak. Another oldie but a goodie. It's mainly its main effect is if you can banish it from the graveyard, then you can search out the Phantom Knight's card from your deck to your hand. So this is your big searcher. You can always send it with Torn Scales as well. And the other additional effect it has is if it's on field, you can switch it to defense, target a dark monster, and it will gain the attack of Ancient Cloak, which is 800. It also has a defense of 1000 and it's a level 3. Next up, another three of is the Phantom Knight Asylum Boots. If you control another Phantom Knight's card, you can summon it from your hand, which is fantastic. And if you banish it from the graveyard, you can search out a Phantom Knight's spell or trap, which is pretty good considering you can search out your Fog Blades or your Wings or any other of Phantom Knight's spells or traps. Next up, running at 3, is the Phantom Knight of Ragged Gloves. Although, so one thing would be to drop it to 2 if you're planning to put more BA support in, or other BA cards. I'm only running it at 3 purely for the Phantom Knights, or you can switch it out for other more taking cards like Ashes and Ghost Ogres or other things. But I just putting, as I say, I'm just running a more pure variant, so I'm putting it at 3. If a XYZ monster is summoned using it as material, that monster gains 1000 attack. So it means your 2k Breaker Sword will become a 3k Breaker Sword, which is never a bad thing. And you can banish it from the graveyard to send a Phantom Knight card from your deck to the grave. So it's another Foolish Burial along with the new Torn Scale. So it's got 1000 attack and it's got 500 defense and it's level 3. Final Phantom Knight for the main deck in terms of monsters. I have 2 of the new Phantom Knight Sustained Grooves. If a Phantom Knight is special summoned, you can summon this from your hand, and then you have the choice to increase its level by 1, which is always good if you're going for those level 4 plays. You need that extra level 4, as it is a level 3. You can also banish this card from your graveyard to special summon a Phantom Knight from your hand if you're having trouble getting that extra Phantom Knight out there. It's got an attack of 1200 and it's got a defense of 600. As I said before, it's level 3. That was the end of the Phantom Knights. The last cards I'm playing in the main deck, monster-wise, are I'm playing 3 Kamechu Knight, which is a level 3, 0 attack, 0 defense. When you normal summon, a level 3 monster, which all of the Phantom Knights are, you can special summon this card from your hand. So it just allows you to extend into your bigger plays, be it Link summoning or XYZ summoning. It also cannot be used as a synchro material. So if you're planning to put in a synchro engine, then it wouldn't be advisable to use that. Next up are the last two cards are Danger Tuskiminoko, the snake, and Danger Jackalope. Basically, they're both level 3. The snake one has 1,300 attack, 0 defense. You can read it in your hand. Your, like all dangers, your opponent chooses one. Then, if it's discarded, then you can special summon it from the graveyard. So you summon it back, and if it's not, then you summon it and draw a card. And the same with Jackalope in terms of summoning out and drawing a card. If it's not picked, but if it is picked, this one, the Jackalope that is, then you get to summon out a snake from your deck. So either way, you get a level 3 on board. It's got a 500 attack and it's got 2k defense as Jackalope. And as I said before, they're both level 3. So that's it for the main deck monsters. Next up is spells. Running 2 Twin Twister because one, discarding from hand. If you're discarding any of your Phantom Knight cards to the graveyard, then it's just giving you more plays to do, and plus taking out back row. Running 2 Burial from the Different Dimension, purely because for this kind of build, I found that it was easier to have that ability to recycle things which disappeared out of the graveyard quite quickly. And 2 was easier to find and go into. I am running 2 of the new Phantom Knight Rank Up Magic Force. Fantastic card, this. During the main phase, banish 1 or more dark monsters from your graveyard. Then you can target 1 Dark XZ monster you control. And then you can special summon the extra deck 1 Phantom Knights, Raid Raptor, or XYZ Dragon, XYZ monster, whose rank is equal to that plus the number of banished monsters. So if you're going with a rank 4, you can banish 1 dark monster from your graveyard, and it will rank it up into a rank 5. If you banish 2, it will rank it up into a rank 6, so on and so forth. Great card, it's quick play as well, so it can be done during either main phase, but it's just a lovely addition to the other rank up card for Phantom Knights, which I'm also running 1 of, the Phantom Knight Rank Up Magic Launch. Target a dark XYZ monster you control with no materials, then you can attach it as a material and rank it up, basically. The additional effect it also has is that if it's in the graveyard and you have a Dark XYZ on the board and a Phantom Knight in hand, you can banish the rank of launch from the graveyard to attach the Phantom Knight in hand to your XYZ monster. Next up is running 1 Monster Reborn for Monster Reborn reasons, 1 Regeki for field clearance, reinforcement of the army for searching out virtually the entire deck bar the 2 dangers, because everything else in it is warrior, and Foolish Burial because you can never get enough of a good thing with Foolish Burial. Next up for the traps, virtually all the traps are Phantom Knights. That's just my choice. Again, as I say, this is more of a pure variant. Obviously, feel free to add or take away as you want. First off is running 3 of the Phantom Knights of Fogblade. This is a great trap card. Target 1 effect monster on the field, and it cannot be attacked or attack, and its effects are negated. So it can be used on neither player's field. You can also banish it from the graveyard to summon back a Phantom Knight monster, which is great if you consider that you're suddenly running Monster Reborns with all your traps. Next up, I run 2 of the Phantom Knight Wing. Target 1 monster on the board. It gains 500 attack, and the first time it will be destroyed with battle or card effect. It isn't destroyed. So yeah, it just gives you a little bit of boost for those extra push through plays. Plus, if you're trying to get something engraved to banish to bring back stuff for your opening plays, like off Torn Scale or Foolish Burial, or if you're looking for something similar, then it's a great target with still 1 live in deck to banish to bring back more stuff. Then running 2 of the Phantom Knights of Lost Vambrace. This is one of the trap cards, which is also a monster. You target one monster face on the field. If that target is still on the field, Phantom Knight monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle for this turn. Also, that monster loses 600 attack, and it also becomes level 2. So during your opponent's turn, if you target something that they've got, you can summon this out, all your Phantom Knights suddenly become immune to battle, and as long as whatever they're attacking with, as long as it has a level, attacks you, they can't be destroyed by battle. So if you summon it in defense, it will just sit there. And then during your turn, if you target one of your Phantom Knight monsters, it can make it level 2, so you can overlay for the rank 2 Phantom Knight, which I always find is quite a sneaky move that nobody expects. Next off are the last two one-offs. Phantom Knight's Sword. Again, it's like the other previous Phantom Knight traps, with the exception of Vembrace, which is a monster trap. It has a monster reborn effect when it banishes from grave. Also, it's a continuous trap, this one. Target a monster on the field and it increases attack by 800. And the first time a Phantom Knight will be destroyed by battle or by card effect, send it to the graveyard instead. So it's more of an more equipped card version of the Wings. Again, it's just for the boost and to banish from the graveyard to boost attack. In other builds, you can probably run one of the sword and one of the wings, or even get rid of one wing and one sword for more meta-relevant cards. Next up is the Phantom Knights of Mistclaw, which is target one banished Phantom Knight monster, add it to your hand. So it's essentially like a slightly trap better variant of Bale from the Different Adventure if you're looking to try and get a monster back in hand that you've banished, which is always quite useful. So it summons them both out and they both become the same level. This also has 0 attack and 0 defense. As someone else. Oh, sorry, I forgot to say the Phantom Knight of Lost of Embrace has summons itself out as a level 2 with 600 attack and 0 defense. And then finally, the Phantom Knights of Shade Brigade. If it's set while you have no trap cards in the graveyard, you can summon it out as a level 4 monster immediately after it's set, which is always quite a good thing, especially for those early link summons, or just to try and get those big level 4 out, rank 4 plays off. And yeah, it's just basically a floating monster as a trap. It's a warrior, it's level 4, 0 attack, 300 defense. And that's it for the main deck. Next up for the extra deck, start with links. So I'm running 3 links. First up is Cherubin, Emborn Angel of the Burning Abyss, the Burning Abyss link. Just requires 2 level 3 monsters. Monsters this card points to cannot be destroyed by card effects, which is always good, especially if there's 2 arrows pointing to your zones. And if this card will be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can send one of the other cards it points to the graveyard instead. The other thing it also does, like most of the deck, it is a foolish burial in terms. You can send one level 3 or lower monster from your deck to the graveyard, then target one Burning Abyss monster on the field and increase its attack by the target sent. So it can always increase its own attack by whatever you send. Not that it necessarily will stick around too long for that effect to pay off, but it's still a good effect to get off, especially if you're playing with the BA engine. So it becomes much more useful. But in this more pure variant, it's just, as I say, it's just purely for the Foolish Burial and to allow full access to all the Phantom Knights that we can possibly get. Next is the Link 3, the Phantom Knights of Rusty British. Requires 2+ dark monsters. And during the main phase, you can send one Phantom Knight monster from your deck to set a spell or trap directly from your deck to your spell or trap zone. So if you're wanting to set your Fogblade from your deck, you can just send a Phantom Knights monster from your deck, like, let's say, Silent Boots, to set Fogblade. Then you can banish Silent Boots to set another Fogblade. So get 2 effect negates for the price of 1, in essence, from that card. It's
Well, that was
fantastic.
the old
Also,
play in Orcust, wasn't it?
Yes, had a lot of play there. Also, if you XYZ summon to a zone this card points to, then you can destroy 1 card on the field. giving it a walking destruction, is pretty good. It has 2/1 attack. Next up is my final link card. So you just Skull Dread, nice big 2/8 beta, link 4. I mainly ran this, not that I necessarily go into it a lot. I mainly run it purely for the being able to draw more cards and to just boost attack on board. As depending on how many monsters you use to link summon it, between 2 and 4, depends on what effects it has. So if you use 2, then if you normal summon a monster to the zone it points to, or special summon, it gains an extra 300 attack and defense, which is always a nice boost. If you use 3 or more, then you can also, in addition, special summon a monster from your hand. And then if you use a maximum of 4, then when it's link summoned, you can draw 4 cards, then put 3 cards from your hand back to the deck in any order, to the bottom of your deck in any order. So it's it's very useful to try and search out stuff from the deck. And as I said, it gives you a few more options. Then finally onto the XE plays. We start from the bottom. I'm running one number F0 utopic feature, purely as more from my own personal preference than anything. It's quite easy to get into. It just requires 2 XE monsters with the same rank, which aren't numbers, and since I'm running no numbers in the extra deck, so virtually all of the XE monsters are fair game. You just have to have the same rank. So since most of them are rank 3 or rank 4, it's quite easy to get out into. It can't be destroyed by battle, and neither player takes any battle damage from attacks involving this card, which is quite good since it has 0 attack and defense. But what it can do is after it battles a monster, it can take control of that monster until the end of the turn, meaning that if it attacks into one of a bigger boy, then it can just steal it for the turn and then use it to attack your opponent. So always fun. Next up is the rank 2, the only rank 2 I run, the Phantom Knight's Curse of Javelin. Just requires 2 level 2 monsters. You can detach one from this card to target one face-up monster your opponent controls, and then change its attack to 0 and negate its effects. So kind of like a very light Requiem. I always like to think of it in terms of what it can do, which is, I think, is pretty special. And if you also have a Phantom Knight card as a material, then you can activate this card during either player's turn. It has 16 attack, that is 1600 attack, and 0 defense. It can get you out of a few binds if you know when to summon it. Then we go into the rank 3s. I only run 4, and 3 of them are the same. So first up is Levier the Sea Dragon. Once per turn, you can detach one from this card to target one banished level 4 or low monster and special summon it to your field. Basically, fairly sovereign because you're running Phantom Knights and everything is banishing. Bringing 1 or 2 things back from the banisher into the field to extend your plays is great. And in other variants, I tend to run maybe 2 or 3. I only run 1 purely because I have 1. And if I had to, I'd maybe run 2 of them and 2 of the next card. But it is well worth the investment in the deck for, and it's certainly a staple for it. And then finally, the last rank 3 I run is 3 of the Phantom Knights of Breaker Sword. It takes 2 level 3s, it's 2000 attack, 1000 defense. Once per turn, you can detach one to target one card your opponent controls and destroy it. And if this XYZ summoned monster is destroyed, then you can target 2 Phantom Knight monsters in your graveyard, summon them back, but you increase their levels by 1. And then you can banish them when they leave the field. Or you have to banish them when they leave the field. It's fantastic to target yourself and another card, blow it up, summon back your 2 materials to go into bigger rank 4 plays. It's definitely another staple of the deck. Then finally we go into the rank 4 plays. So I run 4 rank 4 monsters. First up is the brand new Raider's Knight, which is also treated as a Raid Raptor or a Phantom Knights card. Weirdly enough, it takes 2 level 4 dark monsters to make, has 2000 attack and 0 defense. It's basically a walking rank up magic in everything but name. So what it does is you can detach 1 material from this card to special summon from your extra deck one Phantom Knights or Raid Raptor or XYZ Dragon XYZ monster that is one rank higher or lower than this card and attach it and its materials onto it, but destroy it during your opponent's end phase. So you can use it to detach to rank it down into Breaker Sword, to detach to blow up to summon back to if you really wanted, or you can detach one to rank it up higher into what I would go for is Arc Rebellion Dragon, especially because of Arc Rebellion Dragons, which is the new card. It's a special ability, which I'll explain when I get to it. But another fantastic card, and definitely I would recommend a good save for the deck. Next is Evil Swarm Thanatos, 2 level 4 dark monsters again. Has 2,350 attack and 1,350 defense, because it's awkward. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can attach one XE from this card. This face-up card is unaffected by other monster effects. A nice little effect, especially if you combine it with Ragged Gloves, which increases XYZ monsters made with it by 1,000. From 2,350, it becomes 3,350 and unaffected by other monster effects, which is just a pure beat stick and very useful for getting around big problem cards. Finally, we have last two. We have, of course, Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon, main card of the deck. Detach 2 level 4 monsters, 2/5 attack and 2k defense. You can detach 2 materials from this card and target one face-up card your opponent controls. Its attack becomes half its current attack, and if it does, this card gains the lost attack. So basically, if your opponent's got a bigger monster than this, you can attach it, half its attack, and it will gain it, and then you can attack into it, and it will guarantee 2/5 damage, because that's maths. Next up is Supreme King Dragon Dark Rebellion. This requires 2 level 4 Dark Pendulum monsters to make, although there is another way you can make it, as I use in the deck. Once per turn, during damage calculation, if this monster battles an opponent's monster, you can attach one material from this card until the end of the turn. It changes the attack of the face-up opponent's monster to 0, and if you do, it gains the attack. So, slightly better variant than Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon. Also, has another effect if during the battle phase, you can return it to the extra deck to summon 2 Supreme King Dragons or Supreme King Gate Pendulum monsters from the extra deck in defense position. Not necessarily needed. It has 2/5 attack, 2k defense. The way I get it out is if I have a rank 3 dark monster, such as my Phantom Knight Breaker Sword, I can then use my 2 rank up cards to rank up into it, mainly using the Phantom Knights of rank up Magic Launch if my Breaker Sword has no XE materials. So if I've used its effect, blowing it up to blow up back row, I can banish a trap from my graveyard to summon back my Phantom Knight of Breaker Sword with no materials. Then I can use the Phantom Knights rank up Magic Launch, targeting Breaker Sword, to rank it up into Supreme King Dragon Rebellion, which is one that I wouldn't necessarily expect, and certainly would again get around big attack problem cards, which most of the deck wouldn't be able to face. And it just gives you more options to go to, and I just quite like the fact that you're able to go into both Dark Rebellion and its Supreme King counterpart using Phantom Knights. I think that's quite fun. And then finally, the two rank 5s, the big boss boys of the deck. First is Dark Requiem XYZ Dragon, the old boss of the deck. Again, you make this through rank up magics. But it takes 3 level 5 monsters, has 3,000 attack and 2/5 defense. Once per turn, you can detach one XE material from this card to target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Change its attack to 0, and if you do, this card gains its attack, or its original attack, as in addition to its own, which is permanent. So it just gains a permanent boost of whatever your opponent's targeted monster has. Also, during each player's turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can detach one from this card to negate it, destroy it, and then you can special summon an XYZ monster from your graveyard to just boost your ranks. I find it absolutely insane, given its only limitation is just detaching materials. And especially you don't have to, it's not limited to once per turn. So it can be done as many times as you've got materials for Requiem, which is just mad, I think, in terms of effect negation. But it compares next with newer counterpart sibling, which is the brand new Arc Rebellion XYZ Dragon, which I was saying earlier was a good one to summon out with Raider's Knight. So this one requires 3 level 5 monsters. It has 3,000 attack and 2,500 defense, much like Requiem. This XYZ monster cannot be destroyed by card effects, which would mean that if you summon it out with Raider's Knight, it doesn't disappear at the end of the turn because it can't die by card effects. You can attach 1 XZ material from this card. This card gains attack equal to the total original attack of all other monsters on the field, which is mad. Then, as if that wasn't bad enough, if this has a Dark XYZ monster as a material, it can negate the effects of all other face-up monsters on the field. After this effect resolves, you cannot declare an attack with other monsters for the rest of the turn except this one. And you can only use this effect once per turn. So, I mean, the fact that it can permanently negate all of not only just your monsters but your opponent's monsters, gain all of their original attack to itself, and it cannot be destroyed by card effects, I think is just absolutely mad. It's such a game clincher, and it is in itself a walking virtually a walking win. If you manage to get the effect off and just plow through your opponent, it can do a lot of damage. So yeah, that's my Phantom Knights. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Chris. I'd like to thank you guys for watching as well out there. Make sure you leave us a like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the team's Patreon down below if you would like to be like Chris right here showing off your deck. And at that point, all I can say is I'll see you guys at the next video.